Yo guys, what's going on? LuckyRave is back again to give you guys another Fairy Tale 100th Quest live stream discussion / review. This time we're on take 2. Let me just be for real here. This time we are on take 2 because, well, needless to say, the first time I tried this out, the video kind of crashed. So with that, I was like, all right, let me give StreamYard some time to like cool off. Because for whatever reason, StreamYard likes to do this from time to time. And I thought, well, let me give it a little bit of time. And then come back. You take 2. So here we are with episode 19. Which, interesting. It's pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Actually, it's pretty interesting yet simple all at the same time. And I say that because 1/3 of this episode, simply put, is just, classic fairy tale aftermath. That's really what it is. It's very classic fairy tale aftermath in the grand scheme of things. Like, like when the big battle's done, you get to see, like, them just relaxing, and you have a bit of a hilarious moment in, what's the word I'm using? Hilarious fashion with Brandish, because you have all the characters, not all of them, but like say like all the girls relaxing, taking it easy. They're just chilling themselves, chilling at the spa, and they're like, "Man, this hot spring is just too tiny for us." So then Brandish is there, and she's like, "I got an idea. I got a very good idea. I'm gonna shrink y'all." And that's what happens. They're having fun. Brandish kind of dips, and it's like, oh, yo, like, where'd Homegirl run off to? That's the thing. Like, Homegirl just like dipped. Like, not more so like, how Brandish is. She gets distracted. She moves on. That's kind of just how Brandish's personality is. So it kind of becomes this whole thing of like, shoot, like we can't stay like this forever. We gotta find Brandish and undo everything. And you have a couple hilarious moments here, like with Gray and Juvia. That one, I was kind of surprised they kept that. I was like, really? They kept that one in? It's like, really? That's the one that we kept. Well, and I say it was kind of surprising because the Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest anime has made some cuts like here and there. Sometimes it's like decent, sometimes it's like, okay. Don't know if I would have done with that one. And it's like very rare instance where they make cuts like this, but in this case they kept it because this is something that many people thought that it was probably going to be gone. Like they were probably going to take that because of how lewdish it felt for the most part. But instead, they kept it, which was actually kind of funny. Natsu runs into Lucy, and Lucy's like writing on Natsu's head, which I thought was actually kind of cute, actually, because they're both just like, let's just figure out branches. Let's just do this. And by the way, all that like encompasses chapter 64, which is the start of volume 8. And they are able to succeed. They're able to figure out where they are. Urza has a moment too where like she, returns back to her normal size and like pops up in front of Jalal, and Jalal's like, what? Like, what are you doing? And then, like the big gist of chapter 64, outside of that, is back at the end, the person who was the White Mage wakes up and, like she's sweating and everything. almost like shaken, saying, Elentear will be swallowed by the moon. The white, there's not enough white. And, Jed, Troy, not Blackout, but Warren, they're all just like, what is she talking about? Like, what is this girl on? Like, it's a bit confusing. Then you get to chapter 65. And as far as the anime goes, like, it just straightforwards into that next part. So, the person who was a white mage, she tries to use her hand, like, tries to use some kind of spell. It's not working out. She's trying to figure out, like, what should I do? Goes to Touka, and she tries to wake her up, and instead of like playing the games that she's been playing, she just puts a glass of water next to Touka and says, like there's no time, Elentear's running out, and Toka's like, Elentear? It can't be. Like, you're from Elentear too? It's now impossible for me. I can't save Elentear. And, some of the fairy tale members are like so confused as to what's going on. And, she says, but maybe Natsu and his friends could. They even defeated Aldoron. Touka, I'm begging you, take them to Elentear. And she's like, you after you took my body and did. And she's like, everything I did was to save Elentear. I swear. And then, this is the big thing. She bows to Touka, saying, please, I'll accept any punishment you choose. If only Elentear can be saved. And they're like, she's down on her knees. Like, well, what's going on? And then Jed and Troy, they're like, what's Elentear? Like, don't ask me. To which Touka says, but we'd have to talk to Natsu and the others. And, like, you see kind of like, not necessarily confusion, but like just a sense of lostness with the White Mage. Because she's like, I was only joined with you for a short time, but I should be able to use your magic. And what she does, she throws the water, and she's like, Touka recognizes it, and she calls it Aqua Aera, which is the title of this episode. It's titled Aqua Aera, which I think is funny because none of the chapters, chapter 64, 65, 66, none of those chapter titles have Aqua Aera. That's actually chapter 67's title, if I'm looking at it correctly. Let's see here, 60, yeah, 67, which is covered in, which is going to be covered in episode 20. That's when Aqua Aera is used. But instead they use it for this one, which, I mean, it kind of makes sense when you look at it. It kind of does make sense. Aqua Aera, don't. If you try, you'll. And she says, I'm sorry for all that's happened, Touka. The time we spent together wasn't bad. And she's like, hey, don't go using magic. And, Touka disappears, or I should say, the White Mage disappears, and Touka's like, but that spell isn't that simple. This is awful. Like, you guys. Like, she's talking to Chad, Troy, and Warren. She's like, water. Give me some water, please. To which, as soon as that happens, after a super funny moment with Not Too Happy and Lucy, there's a glow effect that happens, right? There's a huge glow effect with Natsu, Lucy, and Happy. They're like, what's going on? Same thing's happening to Urza, same thing's happening to Gray, Carla, and Wendy. And they all, like, poof, just disappear. They're like, well, where are we? And, Urza calls out Natsu, Gray calls out Urza, Wendy says Gray. And she's like, but Wendy, you're here too? And then you hear a screech coming from Lucy. And Natsu recognizes that thing, like, that's Lucy's voice. What's happening? And then you see that Lucy's, like, just hiding behind a rock because she's like, my clothes, like, they disappeared. And Natsu's like, let's see. And Wendy's like, no, just stop that. What's going on? What is this place? And Urza says, we were in Draymel just a minute ago. Did we get sent off somewhere? That's what Gray's saying. And Lucy's like, but why can't I use my star spirit magic? And Greatest offers Lucy a scope, saying, "Here, take this for now." And Natsu's like, "No, wait, hang on, I can't use my magic either, nor can I." And Happy's like trying to fly, and he's saying like, "I can't fly." And Carla, same thing, "I can't fly either." Like, well, what's going on here? Then you have someone like running off in the distance. Oh my god! Let me just say, this is a moment I've been waiting on for ages. I mean, ages. Because you see a little girl running over with a scarf on, and she's like, "Mommy!" Lucy's confused. Same thing with, Urza, Gray, Wendy, and Natsu. They're like, "What's going on?" And, I mean, at this point, everybody knows. But it is basically a little girl, kind of has the Natsu hair mixed with Lucy's. And she's like, "You're my mommy, right? Huh?" And Lucy's like, "I'm what? Lucy, you have a kid?" Gray's like, "Say what?" Lucy laid in. Oh, Natsu, Natsu, Natsu. We need to get those priorities straight. We really do. And Happy's like, "Mommy, I think the kid has her confused with someone else." And then you have a reappearance of another character we haven't seen in like a long time. And she says, "Natsu, not Natsu, Nasha, I told you not to go too far ahead." And that catches her attention, catches Natsu's attention. He's like, "Huh?" And Lucy's like, "But how? It can't be you." And it's Edolas Lucy. And she's like, "You can't be. You're Earth Lucy." And she's like, "Eda Lucy? Wait. So we're back in Edolas?" And they have their whole little reunion. Kind of cute, kind of sweet, actually, if I'm being perfectly honest here. They're trying to contemplate as to what's going on. Hey, if it isn't Natsu and Grand, even little Wendy, still pint sized, I see. Man, it's been 9 years. How are you still looking so young? Like, does time flow differently in the world? And she's like, "I don't think so." "Hey, I forgot to introduce you. I forgot. Let me introduce you to my kid, Nasha." And she's like, "Hello." And Lucy's blushing. She's like, "Edolas Lucy has a kid?" And Gray's like, "Why are you getting all red?" And she's like, "I've told you about them. Remember? Your mom from another world and her friends who saved your mom in this world? Another world? So why are you here anyway?" And she's like, "Good question." Cut over to the Fairy Tale Guild, the Endless Guild, I should say, and it's Fireball, and he says, "Hey man, it's been ages," and he's like, "Sup, Fireball? Ah, knock it off." Now, here's the thing. So you do technically get the shot with Endless Lucy, Endless Natsu, and like him holding Nasha, but the small difference here with the anime is that like they don't show Nasha's like head, like they show her head like being like tucked away. Like, she is still technically, like, holding her arms around Natsu, or Endless Natsu, but it's not like her, like, being super happy, and you don't see, like, the expression on her face. The anime, for whatever reason, just hit that, which I thought was kinda odd. I found that kinda odd. I was like, "Really? Well, like, we're not showing that at all? Huh. These days you can call me Pops." And Endless Lucy's like, "You still can't count on him for anything, though." And Lucy is like, they got married. So did Gray and Juvie, and like Gray, getting kind of flustered too. And Lucy points out, like, "Wow, man, they know that's happening to you too." Of course, you have Wendy reacting to her endless counterpart, and just her getting a little jealous. So you got that. Haven't changed a bit, except for that's what Happy says. To which Lucy and Gray are like pointing out, like, they have kids. Like, what do you mean things have not changed a bit? And Endless Lucy asks, our nods, like, "So you're telling me you don't know how or why you got here?" And she's like, "Sure am. If you go to the capital, Prince Mystica might be able to do something for you." And then she kind of starts warning Urza, like, "Hey, just to let you know, Nightwalker, you might want to stay clear of her because Let's just say if you two cross paths, you'll regret it. Then you cut over to another part of Edolas where we see the White Mage. She's like, wait, this isn't Elentear. Where am I? I thought I transported Natsu and the others with me. Like, did I miscalculate? Like, and I can't use my magic. I have no way to get home. And that's where we end up, chapter 65. So that's like the second third of the episode is what we cover, is that. Then we cut over to the final portion of the episode, like the last third, which is chapter 66, titled In Edolas. And it says, in another world, it looks like Earthland, where we come from, but it isn't quite. From Earthland brims with magic, but it looks basically a little bit of a narration from Lucy as to like what's been happening since then. It's true we've never had any news from Edolas, so we don't know what's happened here since the last time we left. But I should never imagine it'd be like this. And you have Edolas, Lucy saying, "Hey, it looks good on you," and she's like, "You look like just like how I was when I was young." And Lucy's like, "Well, yeah, we have the same body, but don't you have any clothes with that's not necessarily revealing?" And she's like, "You got a problem with my wardrobe?" And then Lucy just pops the question, "So about you and Natsu?" And case in point, Atlas Lucy just says, "Well, I'll go ahead and say it like this. Basically, we were in a car and things just suddenly happened." And then she got kind of curious. "Well, what about you and your Natsu?" And she's like, "Well, no, 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 no. Blah, blah. I'd rather not get into that." That's when you have, Nasha looking at the two Natsus and being like, "There's two dads." He's like, "Hey, I'm Earth Natsu, and this is me from Earthland." And then you have Nasha being super confused. Like, this is the look of confusion she has because Natsu's carrying her. And like, "So tell me, can the kid breathe fire too?" And she's like, "Dad, what is your Earthland counterpart telling? Like, I'm lost." And she's like, she's not a giant monster." Then you see Grayish, who is, you know, Edolas, Gray and Juvia's son. And he's like, "Well, what are you looking at? Well, why aren't you wearing any clothes?" And Wendy's like, "Think if you and Juvia had a kid, he would be just like this." And Gray's getting super flustered, saying like, "He's too damn cute." Say, how are things going with your Juvia-chan? That's what Edel Gray's saying. And Juvia's like, "Scary to think of there being two of me." And Grace is like, "Oh, what if I told you there was a third Juvia too?" And then you got Grace looking over at Nasha. She's like just waving, like very cheerfully, like, "Hi." And then these two, Gray and Natsu, our Gray and Natsu, to be more specific, they're giving off like the looks of like, "Hey, why is your kid looking at my kid?" And Wendy's just like, "Well, why are you two fighting?" Then you have a nice moment between Happy and Carla, with him saying, "Glad to see things are peaceful around here, Carl." She's like, "Yes, they hate exceeds around here, though I'm not one to blame." And then you have I said Atlas Lucy, Atlas Wendy, you know, holding Carl in her hand, and she says, "We don't hate exceeds. Everyone was just desperate back then." And she's like, "Etta Wendy." And you see like how when all Atlas Wendy is, she's like, "Besides, you're just so cute and fluffy." And Carl is just like, "Just stop it. You're suffocating me with all that squish," which much to, you know, our Wendy's is make sure like, it's like, "I can't stand this. It's getting on my nerves." And then Urza just asks Atlas loosely, "Well, what do you mean by I shouldn't meet myself?" Oh, I'm sorry, not Atlas, Lucy. Atlas Mirror Jane. Like, "I'm afraid, I'm not sure." Lucy's the one who knows about the capital. And she's like, "You don't seem otherworldly at all." And Lucy walks over, she says, "We're back, guys. Seeing you makes me think of my friends who got killed." That's what she tells Atlas Lucy tells our Urza, and you know Atlas Natsu says Lucy don't. But I guess it cuts both ways. We did our fair share of royal soldiers too. Guess it just means the war is over. Does this have something to do with why you won't tell me about Nightwalker? Just a little payback. Cut over to the royal city of Edolas, and Lucy points out, like, wow, it's all so familiar. Man, everyone's looking great. Gray points out, yeah, last time we were here, we were in the middle of a war. And then you have Wendy looking at Urza because she's like all in a get up and with a poncho. And she's like, Urza, well, why are you dressed like that? She said, it seems I'm quite famous in the capital, so just in case. Then you have Happy saying, wish we could have brought Lily along. Not like we get to choose where, when we come here. Not just says, let's hurry up to the capital. We're gonna see Mystogan again, which gets Wendy excited too, because that was like her like big brother figure for a long time. Pretty light security for castle. We just walked right in. Just proves how calm things are around here. Nobody really causes trouble. Not even at the capital, and it's Sugar Boy and Hughes. These cats in like ages. Oh my god. Long time no see, Ice Boy. Looks like we got some incredible guests. To which you have Natsu saying, hey, it's you guys, sup, fired boy. And even Catboy's here. Catboy? I can do it without even a nickname. And then Sugar Boy's like, Milk Girl. She's like, no. I'm not going with that. Then Coco, strolls right in. She's like, Princess, Coco's here. And Lucy's like, you've gotten so big, not as big as not as big as you, Lucy. And Wendy's just like they're bonding over their bus size. To which Ray says, and what's with the princess business? And then Urza just asks, so where's Nightwalker? And then you have Byro, chief of the staff, saying, his majesty is waiting for you. Urza might be here as well. So they walk in. You have Mystogan there, which, oh my god, let me just say, it is really great to see Mystogan again. That it's really, really great. I love this part. Because Mystogan was a really, really cool character back in the day. Still is a really cool character. So seeing him again brings back a lot of great memories. That's what I want to say. Welcome, my Earthland friends. It's been so long. They all shout Mystogan. Wendy's like, wow. Urza says Mystogan. And then this is where Nightwalker pops up. She says, you imprinted clods. They're like, oh, what just happened? With the only one being Wendy, who's like just happy. She's got a bright smile on her face. And like as she's approaching Urza, she's like, you must address him as your majesty, you bring it. Then Urza just, catches her hand like just before she's about to hit. And she's like, Scarlet Nightwalker? To which Mystogan just says Urza. And Nightwalker bows saying sire. And, Urza gets all formal with her hands behind her back. Like, yes, sir. I met Nightwalker. These are my guests. Be civil with them. My apologies, sire. And, Urza's law, same thing with the others. Come on, stop that. I will not. I am offended. How can I be forgiven? And pretty much, I want to say she kind of goes into Juvia mode without, like, the look of excitement, if you will. Like, really asking for punishment. She's like, just please, punish me with a whip. Like, I beg you. And Mystogan's just like, no whipping. Just stand up. No, I can't. Not right now. Right there. And Natsu's just like, so she's your maid? No, believe it or not, she's actually an excellent commander. His Majesty's enemies are my enemies, and his friends are my friends. That's what Nightwalker says. And Carl is just like, she's changed. And our Earth is just like, God, that Edolas Lucy, and Lucy's just like, don't look at me. To which we get a little small corner section to Edolas Lucy just like being so cheeky in the background. And Mystic just asks, so are Master Lily and the others well? And Happy says, I, to which Nightwalker says, not I. You answer yes, sire, to his majesty. Oh, you exceed. And Happy's like, very sorry. To which Mystigan says, Urza, I get it. She's head over heels for you. Head over heels? Me? No, his majesty's my life. And Urza just asks, so what happened in the last 9 years? Um, a lot. Yours kind of cute, though. And the last bits of what get covered in the episode. So they're trying to figure out what happened, trying to get an idea of how we got to this point. And Mystican kind of just says, well, anima hasn't opened up in like the last 9 years. And without magic, we aren't even capable of opening it from this side. But he does reveal one thing. And he says, no, I've heard of other creatures who have the power. It said that the Anima Project had another objective as well, besides Earthland. The critical magic world Elentear. And Wendy's just like, you mean another parallel world? To which he says, one who dwells there has an even greater purpose, to move between worlds than anima. That's why the Anima Project never targeted them. Was Selene the moon dragon god, a dragon who can cross dimensions. And that's kind of where both where the episode ends or where the chapter ends. And plus, given the fact that, well, we covered it with the key visual, it does set up that yes, Selene is the next target for, the 100 Years quest. And it's honestly going to be really, really interesting. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil what happens given the fact that I'm a manga reader, but I am curious. I am super, super curious seeing how the anime does tackle like this next arc, considering that we only have like maybe 4 or like let's say 5 or 6 episodes left. So it is going to be interesting to see with what we cover within that time span. And aside from that, like there's not really much more I can talk about here with the episode aside from that. I mean, if I had to give an overall rating, I'll go ahead and give it an amazing plus. It's an amazing plus episode of Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest, episode 19. I know this one's kind of short, but I do have a couple of things I have to take care of on my end, so I do have to get going, unfortunately. But it was still fun. It was honestly still so much fun sitting here talking about this latest episode. And I can't wait for next episode. I can't wait for episode 20. So, that being said, you guys, that's pretty much it. I'm LuckyRave. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more fairy tale content, Hero Mashima content, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Laters.